Welcome back to Kevin's Trooper channel. Thank you so much for joining me again today. I'm super excited. It's Friday morning, just turned 6 o'clock. Gotta wake Creed up and bring him to school, get him ready for school and bring him to school. But after that, let me show you what we got to play with today. Check this out. So we are gonna turn that into some rock sliders for that with that. And I'm bringing you guys with me today. I'm ready to get started, man. We're gonna cut some tubing. We're gonna turn those 1 by 3.5s into some sliders and take that tubing and weld it into the frame. May actually bolt it on, I just hadn't decided for sure yet. All right, let's open this thing up and see what we got. Here we go. Now here's the first thing before we take this out and assemble it and start bending pipe. Look at the inlet that this air hose has on it. That's larger than ones that I have seen in the past. So what I'm hoping to do is I'm going to take this out here, disassemble this somewhere, and I'm going to bring this to the hardware store. And I'm thinking I probably should just buy a whole new hose that goes just for this. Because if I'm trying to change out tips every time I go to use this or one of my other air tools, I don't think that's such a good idea. So I'm going to get a brand new air hose that I can run solely to this, that will have this big inlet on it. I've never seen one like that. There must be a certain volume of air have to go in that thing in order to get that jack to raise up, and I don't want to make it smaller. I don't want to slow it down. So I'm going to go to the hardware store and buy a dedicated hose just for this. All right, well, as y'all can see, the sun still has to come up a little bit behind us. Well, I'm back from the hardware store, and they don't have anything that looks like this. They had tons of different ones, nothing that matches that. I've never seen this before. The guy at the hardware store has never seen one of these before. So I'm just gonna go to my toolbox, get the regular one that goes on all my other air tools, hook it up and see how it works. I started to go ahead and get a higher volume, like a larger inside diameter one of these, just a different connection, because they had those. But all the air hoses they had were still for 1/4 inch, so that wouldn't have helped me, because the restriction in flow would not have been here, it would have been the air hose. So I didn't see a larger diameter air hose there. So I'm gonna try the 1/4 inch and see how it works. If I'm unhappy with it, I might change it all out later. So let me get one of these installed and we'll unbox this thing and see how it goes. Now there's some thread tape stuck in here that I have to get out first. I don't want that in the airline. So I'm going to make sure I get all that out of there. There we go, that's pretty good. Now I'm going to put a couple of wraps of thread tape on there. Now, in case you don't know, the direction that you wrap this, you're going to take the direction that it's screwing in, and you're going to wrap it in that same direction. So when you go to screw this in, you're making the tape tighter, not looser. just like that. Just like you would screw it into the compressor or into the jack. Like that. Thing's pretty heavy. And this is a very solid, well-built unit. I watched a couple of reviews on the very similar pipe bender, but it was from Harbor Freight. And that thing shook all over the place and was super rickety. This one is the exact opposite. I mean, this thing is built like a tank. Now, it comes with, I think, 6 or 8 dies. Three-quarter. And 3/4. And we have a nice long air hose here that comes with it. I noticed some of the cheaper models, this was really short. So this thing is really nice. Now it does have tons of packing oil or something. I don't know if you guys can see that all over this thing. So I'm gonna get this thing cleaned up and then we'll get the air compressor going and see how it works. I just want to clean it up a little bit because I don't want to get this grease on me every time I touch it. But like they showed the review from the one from Harbor Freight and the springs were smaller. This thing was shaking all over the place. I think this thing is pretty nice quality. Now the way this works in the back is you just have this little pin and washer and you pull that off and then this comes right out like so. And you can adjust your dies here. I'm going to get the air compressor set up and I'm going to cut a couple of links of pipe just to play with. And I'm going to get it all set up and then I'll start the recording again and we'll see how it bends. Hold on, I'll be right back. All right, I'm going to bring these in just a little bit closer. right, we look pretty snug in there. So let's see. Well, maybe I am going to have to go with that higher volume air. You know, it was funny, when I went to Northern Tools to pick this up, I was shopping for them online first, and I had intended on getting the one without the air assist. It was $249 for the one without the air, it was $310 for the one with the air. And they had the one for $249 on the shelf above, and then the $249 was on the shelf, and then this one was below it. So I was thinking this was the one without air whenever I bought it, and when I got it home I realized I grabbed the wrong one. So I was gonna get the one without air to start with, but I want to get this air working because it's gonna be pretty handy to be able to push this. But I'm gonna have to run back to the hardware store and go ahead and see if they do have a higher volume. That's really all it could be. So I'm gonna mess with that, but in the meantime, let's see how just using the jack's gonna bend it. So let's see what we got here. Now I was reading or watching some videos and reading some information on these pipe benders. And they were talking about the difference between a pipe bender and a tubing bender. And this is actually pipe that I bought. Pipe is rated as Schedule 40, Schedule 80, those kind of things. And one of the big secrets was to make sure that the die fits in the pipe, fits around the pipe really well, because that's what keeps it from kinking. And that's actually probably about all the bend that I'm gonna need in the pipe, because I'm just going up a little bit into the frame like I showed you guys on the last video. And so I don't need it to bend much more than that. I'm not gonna have to make any 90s or anything like that with this thing. So let's see. Oh yeah. Look at that. Really nice. So that's going to allow me to go to the rock slider and then up to the frame. That's nice. And I can probably even scoot it down just a little bit and put the bend even a little bit further down. And actually, if I were to do them asymmetrical, I put this one a little closer and leave that one where it is, it might give me a little bit more of a radius turn. Very nice. Look at that, guys. Very smooth bend. Good deal. And this is schedule 40. I think this is 1 1/4, 1.5 inches, I think. Very nice. I don't actually even need the air working, but I am going to try to get it working. Yeah, hi Chuck. I am working with your 16-ton. I mean, I guess a regular hose still has to work because the hose they have on the pump looks like it's a regular 1/4 inch, hose, 300 psi hose, just like my hose from my AC. So I'm not sure how that works, but maybe it's just the air going through this nipple is the whole key then. All right, I appreciate your help, man. I really do. I'm gonna run see if I can put something together for it. I think that's our issue though. All right, thanks, bud. Bye-bye. All right, so it has to have 15.5 CFMs in order for it to run the pump. And I think that's the difference between that and that. And they had some other ones this size, but nothing hooks onto this. I actually opened a few of them to try, and nothing fits onto this. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get a bigger volume, but one that actually hooks onto something that they have there. So I'm gonna go get all that set up, and I gotta run and get some cutoff wheels before I start on the rock sliders anyway, because I forgot them when I was there earlier, and I kinda wanted to come play with this a little bit. So I'm gonna run to the hardware store and get this straightened out, and we'll be right back. Actually, you know what? Before I do that, I'm gonna try to turn the air compressor up all the way and just make sure that's not gonna be enough. Let's just give this a shot and see what happens. It was worth a shot. I'm gonna go to the hardware store. I'll be right back. All right, so we're back from the hardware store. So this was the one that came in the jack, and this is what I've got to replace it with. And you can see the diameter is the same, and I got this extra coupler that's gonna snap on an air hose. Now, since I'm not sure if this is gonna work, I didn't buy an extra air hose because I have an extra one. And I'll just rig the extra one up I have for this, and if it works, great, and if not, then we'll keep digging. So let me get all this hooked up, and let's try this jack out and see if we can get it fixed. Nothing. So the guy on the phone told me that it needed 15.5 CFMs in order to run the jack. It didn't say that anywhere in the advertisement. Didn't say that anywhere in the magazine. My air compressor does 11. So that's probably what the issue is. I'm just going to leave it the way it is for now and use the jack. I plan on getting a new air compressor before too much longer anyway. And when I do, I'll get an air compressor that pushes more air, and I'll try it again. At least now I have the ability to attach everything. So I think that's probably what the issue is I'm just not pushing enough volume of air. Seems a bit ridiculous. I didn't intend to buy the one with air anyway. It just kind of cost me an extra $50. Well, that's going to conclude this video. The goal of this video was to just get the pipe bender set up. And I'm going to go ahead and close this video out, and then we're going to start our series on building the rock sliders. So thank you for joining me. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you hit the bell, you're going to get my whole series on rock sliders and all my other videos as well. So thanks for joining me. See you guys next time.